What's going on, everybody? It's your Mad Magnus here, and today I'm feeling really well achieved today since I just read my first series, and so far is one of my favorite teen fantasy series I've ever read so far. And spoiler alert, go ahead, this is a spoiler alert just to let you guys know. So the first series I've ever read was the Fallen Kingdom series by Rhodes, and right here I have them all right here in session. Fallen Kingdoms, Rebel Spring, and going from there. So far we're going to go in order, and we're going to be talking about this series, and I want to give a big shout out to New York Times best-selling author Morgan Rhodes. You did a hell of a job. I loved it. And, like, giving you my personal views on it, like my personal reviews, my favorite character was Magnus, as you can tell. Who doesn't like Magnus? Seems that he's like that kind of character who, he's angry. He's angry in the beginning, and he's trying to run away from his dark history, his dark past. Like, he hasn't, like, in the series, you tell he has a scar on his face going across, like right to his mouth, kind of like a half Joker smile. Pretty much like a half Joker smile. That's the way I put it. And like, of course, whenever in a story when a character has a scar on their face, you always want to know how they get it, how did it happen. And with that being said, let's get started. The first book here is Fallen Kingdoms, as you can tell. Mostly if it's in the Fallen Kingdom series, if it's a Fallen Kingdom series, or, of course, if it's a series, it's always going to have, the series is always going to be the name of the first book, like Game of Thrones. Obviously, it's Game of Thrones. Like, first one, Fallen Kingdoms, which, very good, had a bunch of twists, and a lot of some characters died, like main characters, like King Corvin's dad, or not King Corvin's dad, Princess Cleo's father, King Corvin. Also, Jonas's son Thomas died, I know that. Aaron killed him. That's from this one. Like, I think that was like in the middle of it, and this was pretty much when everything went south at the end. Like, they start out, and Magnus is seeing his father's ruthlessness, and in that ruthlessness, he sees that he believes, seeing that his father's that ruthless, he believes he could, like, achieve the same way through ruthlessness, like he wanted to be just like his father. Cleo, she's having a hard time, like, fitting in and abiding by her father's rules in Arnos. And, like, they say her mother died of childbirth giving birth to her, and her older sister, Amelia, and her father, King Corvin, blames her for it. And, that's one way it goes. Like, for her, and Jonas, he's just in Palisade having a good time, like spending time with his brother Thomas, and pretty much getting prepared for what he believes is coming. Like, stories about these characters who live in a country called Mythica, and there are like 3 regions. There's Arnos, Limeros, and Palisade. Arnos, where Cleo resides, Limeros, where Magnus resides, and Palisade, where Jonas resides. And there are these things called the Kindred. They're these elemental orbs. Like, you have earth, fire, air, water, kind of like Avatar, The Last Airbender, which, love that show, and big old Legend of Korra fan. Well, that's not what we're talking about, but you know what the heck. So, covering that, that's in this first Fallen Kingdoms book is where it starts out good, but in the in the end, it pretty much goes south. I got this thing on the back of my neck. Sorry about that. So pretty much everything goes south at the end of that. And, like, Thomas dies, King Corvin dies, Amelia dies of sickness, Theon Ranus dies, Cleo's first love, man who she loved, and was killed by Magnus and stabbed him in the back where it haunts him. Okay, so moving on from Fallen Kingdoms, we have Rebel Spring coming up right here. Book 2, Rebel Spring, which I know this is mostly a picture of Jonas. I'm guessing because he's the rebel leader in this book, like starting a rebellion. Because starting in the rebellion at the end of the first Fallen Kingdoms, King Gaius, Prince Magnus' son, killed Chief Balassus. Like, Balassus claiming he's some kind of sorcerer, and King Gaius just walks up to him and slits his throat and saying, "Okay, if you prove yourself to be a sorcerer, heal yourself right now." Didn't heal himself. Died. Dead. And also, residing with Magnus is his stepsister, Lucia, who he has big feelings for. And he wants to love her, but she can't love him the way he wants to love her. So they kind of form some relationship in their time together in the family. And mostly in the Rebel Spring, everything pretty much goes south. Like, you got lots of fights, you got lots of deaths, and you got tons of violence, explosions, and mysteries. So mostly in Rebel Spring is also the debut for Lysandra, where she comes in and mostly in this fight, people, it's like where King Gaius orders a demand to build a Imperial road, which he believes is what he's trying to mostly find the kindred, because he was told if he finds these kindred, like this Watcher, Millennia, promised him power to become some kind of elemental god of some sort. And that he believes, and he starts to make construction for this Imperial road. And the rebels, Jonas and let me see if I can remember his friend's name, because can't remember his friend's name because I know his friend died in this one by Aaron. I mean, Aaron was the character I hated so much. I mean, oof. And let's see, Brian, that's who it was. His friend Brian, his closest friend. And Lysandra, she became part of the rebels in mostly the prologue, because her village was attacked by Imperial Limerins by King Gaius' order, pretty much saying, "Submit to me or be enslaved." That's what he pretty much said to them. So they refused and fought, and they all died, and their village got burnt down. And Lysandra, she hid from them because that's what her brother told her to do. And after that, like, during the war for Arnos, when King Corvin died, King Gaius defeated King Corvin, killed Chief Balassus, and captured Cleo. And he puts Cleo in like a forceful marriage towards Magnus, like, to gain power. So also, when you get near the end of Rebel Spring, it has like another fight near like the giant mountains. Like, that's what I just finished this. I remember what they're trying to be called. Granite Coast. Not the Wildlands. It has to say it here somewhere. Forbidden Mountains. That's what it was called. Man, you just read the series. You got to remember the details. I mean, somebody can't remember all the details. I mean, hey, we're only human. So, in the Forbidden Mountains, there's this outpost where it's being held by this man called Xanthus, who's rumored to be like an exiled watcher. And the Watchers, they're these beings who can take hawk form and come into the human world to watch us. And when they say they're exiled watchers, they sacrifice their immortality from leaving the sanctuary, and they get to live here in their actual form, but they're mortal. So, just like that, they have to pretty much just live a normal life, if they can. And also, while he's at this outpost getting the outpost ready for the Imperial Road, which he's on King Gaius' side. So, Jonas leads an attack on that outpost. And also in the middle of Rebel Spring, Magnus' mother, Queen Altia, died. She was assassinated by, and when it happens, you'll know whom assassinated her. So, after Magnus confronts Aaron, trying to rape a woman, he confronts him knowing that he's the one who killed his mother. So, he kills Aaron, which I was so happy, which I was expecting Jonas to kill Aaron because Aaron killed his brother. So, but to me, it felt better when Magnus killed Aaron instead of Jonas, though, which wanted to see Jonas kill Aaron, but you know what happened in the story happened in the story. So, in that moment, after he killed Aaron, Jonas showed up to fight Magnus to kill him and also Magnus believed it was also Jonas who killed his mother, because he didn't know who it was, so he just killed anyone he believed that killed his mother. And after that, the tent caught on fire. They both had to separate, and Jonas gets stabbed by a guard and almost dies. Then some being named Phaedra, who just became an exiled watcher, healed him. And she's also the younger sister of Xanthus, another exiled watcher who I just told you about. He confronts her, they have a chit-chat, and he kills her. But she gave most of her magic to Jonas, so he could live because she saw something inside him. So, he leaves, and that's pretty much the end of Rebel Spring. So, also right here is when you also head to Gathering Darkness, the second book, which was pretty good. Read this one in like a week. To be honest, this series took me about 2.5 years. Which, this one is fighting a few more other guys show up, like Felix shows up, and Lysandra still goes on, and some guy called Kyan, who controls fire. Okay, so also in this one, like, mostly some characters' siblings died at King Gaius' hand. A lot of people escaped, and people were like getting to know one another in this one, which mostly lots of people got killed in this one. Lots of people got burnt, blasted, beheaded, and stabbed. And pretty much that's what happened in this one. So after that, moved on to this one that probably took me the longest. The fourth one, called Frozen Tides, which is where I really got the hang of. Like, of course, this one you can tell it's Lucia, because she controls fire. She's some kind of sorcerer. Like her father, King Gaius, believes she's some kind of sorcerer from a legend that they speak of. So in this one is where this watcher named Alexis comes down to, he's pretty much sent on a task to find Lucia. And Lucia pretty much saw Alexis in her dreams, since her mother, Queen Altia, kept her asleep for a long time purposely. Queen Altia despised Lucia because of all the... probably because she wasn't her child by blood. I mean, it kind of seems similar to Catelyn Stark from Game of Thrones. But in Frozen Tides, more fire, more magic, and pretty much this one is where sex comes in. Because it's like Game of Thrones, I say it myself. Like, because in the back it says, it's perfect for Game of Thrones fans. So, in this one, Alexis, some Watcher just became an Exiled Watcher, goes to find Lucia, and he's sent on a task by Millennia to kill Lucia because she fears of how powerful she is. And in this time, also, two characters arrive, Prince Asher and Princess Amara, Cretians. Cretians are part of the Cretan Empire ran by Emperor Cortez, who, he's ruthless and greedy. They pretty much are sent there to send some kind of alliance. Like, the Emperor wants alliance for King Gaius, since King Gaius pretty much rules all of Mythica. And if he doesn't, the Empire, he threatens the Empire will smite it right off the face of the earth. And also, getting back to Alexis, he kills Xanthus to pretty much avenge Phaedra, the exiled Watcher that he killed. So, after that, he goes and finds Lucia. She's shocked to see him because she only saw him in her dreams, and she fell in love with him in those dreams. And it kind of made Magnus jealous of it. And after that, she started to learn things from him about the kindred, about the elemental kindreds. They went on searches for like the water, the fire, earth, and air. But the thing is, like, fire was already found, like it was gone, no one knew where it was. They got a hold of the other ones, and once they were trying to get a hold of one, like, Lucia fainted for some unknown reason. Alexis was gonna kill her, but until she saw it, he kills himself instead so he could save her, which brings her to tears. And they had a few nights together. A few nights, they shared the same bed. As simple, we all know that. And that pretty much pisses Magnus off, and he gets more jealous about it. And once everyone else arrives at that temple where they find Alexis dead and Lucia waking up, she pretty much decides she's going to bring the whole place down and almost kills everybody. Then Amara, she was really there and she wants the kindred all for herself. Power. So, she kills Prince Asher because she believes he's in his way. And it shocks her. Like, shocks everybody, really, to see a girl kill her brother. And she runs off and they all have to retreat, so. And also in this one, Magnus and Lucia also have their up and downs through it. Like, every time when they would talk, you feel like they're making a close relationship, but as soon as one brings up a past thing that happened, down, it just goes right back down. But somewhere near the end of this one is where they finally confessed each other. They told each other they loved one another. They shared a room together. And after King Gaius interfered with it, he tried to say love is a lie, it's weak, it's your downfall. Which he didn't believe, he didn't really care, because he's never had mostly any love in his life. So after King Gaius was almost about to die from falling down a cliff, and Cleo almost fell down with him, he said her mother's name, Elena, like saying, please don't leave me, Elena. she was shocked to hear it. So, and that's when we also get into the fifth one, right here, Crystal Storm, again with Magnus on it, which was the fifth book that came out. And she was more wanting to know about how King Gaius knew why he said her mother's name, and she knew her mother died in childbirth. So she talks to him many, many times about it, and you find out how King Gaius became so ruthless. So that's pretty much what happens in that one. Some characters show up. Prince Asher survived, and Princess Lucia travels with one guy named Kyan, who controls fire just as her. And pretty much after they had their fight, and she destroyed Kyan's form, found out she's pregnant. And at the end of that one is when, also Kyan killed Lysandra by burning her, and she collapsed in ashes. And she confessed her love for Jonas. So at the end of that one, people are mostly falling apart after their encounter. Then came the sixth one, Immortal Reign, which happened. This one came out last year. Loved it. This one, like, after a big old fight, like, all the kindred were together. They were trying to get together and thirsty for power to be free from their prisons. Like they say, the kindreds were also these, say the orbs, saying those orbs have the kindred's power. Really, those orbs are the kindred. Like those elements are the kindred. They're gods, like elemental gods of so. So after their encounter, like King Gaius was assassinated after he finally became good. Don't you say when it happened? Bad guys finally become good, then they die. War raged on, and after the end of that war, after they destroyed the kindred, like everybody went mostly happy, Amara left Cretia after killing her father and her brothers from poisoning them with poisoned wine. Left Cretia. She was arrested after killing her grandmother who promised her power, and Nerissa saved her from her execution. She told her she believes everybody deserves a second chance, and she wants her to settle off somewhere with her. She asked her where she wanted to go. She says, everywhere. So back in Mythica, after the kindred were all destroyed, and their magic spread it everywhere, it was all over. Everybody had magic inside them. And after that, Lucia began a liking for Jonas, and they were pretty much building a very close relationship, like an engagement. After Lucia's daughter was born, that she named Lysa, and Niccolo and Asher were getting together, like trying to get ready for their trip, and Magnus and Cleo were getting ready. He held a ring, placed it on her finger, and he was saying, "Are you ready?" She said, "I'm ready." So after that, that was pretty much the end of it. That was all 6 of them right here. And I had a great time reading this series. It's always going to be my favorite. And Morgan Rhodes, you did a great job. Loved it. If you ever make a prequel or a sequel to this series, I'd be happy to read it. And with that being said, love you guys to death. Don't forget to subscribe for more content. And we'll be ready for book review number 2.